Are you a parent of a child experiencing any form of developmental disability? Are you torn between what is right and what is not with regards to your children? Are you facing constant conflict and dilemma when it comes to raising your child with special needs? Then you will get all the answers here. I have come out with 15 fabulous tips for all you parents to lead a very balanced and life of sanity. So stay tuned. I'm Anuradha Deshpande, mother of a young man experiencing intellectual disability, a banker turned clinical psychologist, counselor, and a special educator, and now a digital coach. Founder of Care and Care Life Skill Academy, and I'm on a mission to empower 100,000 parents of children with developmental disabilities through my Care Life Skill curriculum to help them lead a life of dignity and independence. Through this channel, Dignity in Disability, I bring to you a lot of information about developmental disabilities, life skills, and other related topics. I bring this information through two weekly episodes of Tuesday Facts and Friday Facts. These informations are the essence of my 30 years of experience and my association with disability and disability services. Today's Tuesday Facts, we will be talking about 15 fabulous tips for parents of children with special needs to maintain that balance and sanity in their life. So, before we go on to learn about these fabulous tips, please subscribe my channel and also ring the bell icon so that you will be the first person to receive notifications on Tuesday Facts and Friday Facts. Parenting is a very difficult task, and more so when it comes to raising a child with special needs. In spite of my 30 years of experience, there are days when I feel that am I doing enough for my child, or is there anything I missed out or I should be doing? As a mother, I want to do so many things, and the professional in me often disagrees. And I'm sure many of you will be facing similar dilemmas about raising your child. So, here are 15 fabulous tips which help me to maintain the sanity whenever I get into a self doubt or some kind of conflict with regard to raising my child with intellectual disability. I'm sure these 15 tips will help you all, especially on those days when you feel very low or you feel that the whole universe is conspiring against you. So let us go right into checking out what are those fabulous tips. The first one is accept your child's diagnosis and know more about it. Whenever you get a diagnosis of any kind of disability, it is a rude shock and a blow from the blue. Irrespective of whatever may be the diagnosis of your child, try to accept the diagnosis and also your child with the diagnosis. If we accept our child as they are now, then it will be easier for us to solve the problems which are associated with the diagnosis. And I'm fully aware that acceptance is a process and it will take time. But the sooner we reach there, the better it will be for us to take care of our children in a better way. And we will come in terms with the diagnosis. So it will be easier for us to approach the issues surrounding that disability. Second aspect of this is understand the diagnosis very well. When you get a diagnosis of your child, you will realize that it's a very common term. Your child is unique, and the problems associated with their diagnosis may also be different. Talk to the pediatrician or any other medical professional who diagnosed your child and find out more information about the diagnosis. Find out whether there are any specific issues related to your child. Is there any other comorbid conditions? And if so, how to go about working around them. So, understanding completely about the diagnosis of your child will again give you more clarity, and you will have definite issues to address. That will minimize lot of your stress and tension. My second tip is that you are not alone. Whenever you come to know that your child is experiencing some form of developmental disability, then you suddenly feel totally lost and also feel isolated and alone. But you are not alone. There are many people walking a similar path. Try to network with them. It is always good to be in touch with other parents. You can talk to them, share your woes, and also sometimes you can take advantage of their ideas and strategies. You're not alone and don't feel alone. Third is take good care of yourself. 30 years ago, there was no one to guide me with these steps. There were many occasions when I felt completely burnt out, but I never asked for help. I felt that it's my responsibility to take care of my child, and I felt too guilty to even think about taking some time off. But I tell you, don't do that mistake. Please take good care of yourself. At least take 30 minutes for yourself every day. Ask a babysitter or somebody to take care of your child and get a nap or that long overdue haircut or a pedicure. Sometimes order food from outside. Do anything which will make you special and feel relaxed. When you feel rejuvenated, then you will be in a better position to work with your child and take care of them and look at the problems ahead. Number four, it is okay to make mistakes. None of us are perfect, and perfect is a big myth. You may miss an appointment or you may not finish an assignment given to your child, but that is okay. Okay, all those things are important, but you can't do anything about it right now. So there is no point of feeling so bad about it and kill yourself with guilt. Don't do that. So learn to forgive yourself. That will help you a lot. Number five, recognize the small gains and celebrate your child. It's given that life is challenging, but always look towards those small gains you can get. If you look for it, then it will enrich your life. And whenever you find those small gains, please celebrate your child for that. Talk about it to everybody and feel good about it. Success doesn't come easily, and when it knocks your door, please be there to accept it and celebrate. That's very important. Number six, don't compare. It is a thumb rule that you should never compare yourself with anybody, nor you should compare your child with their neurotypical siblings or a neighbor's kid or your sister's kid. You don't compare yourself with others because whatever situation you are going through is not what somebody else is also facing. So don't compare, and definitely don't compare your child with anybody else. Both of you are unique and you are facing your own situation in the best possible way. Number seven, don't rush for results. We all know that it takes time for our children to make progress, and the result will come in its own due course. We are not in a race, we are in a marathon, and we should wait till the finish. So don't tax yourself more than what it is necessary. Wait for the results to come, but work towards it, and I'm sure success will be yours. Number eight, take your neurotypical kids into confidence. Involve them in all the activities of your child with disability. If you do this, they will feel very connected and they will chip in whenever and wherever their help is necessary. Siblings can do wonders, and that I can say with a lot of surety. The next is share your woes. It is okay when you can talk to somebody about whatever you are feeling. We often discuss and we share our woes with our spouse or our siblings, but find out somebody who can give you an ear and won't be very judgmental about you or whatever you are doing. So sharing your woes is a good way of taking out that burden from your chest. The next is don't get submerged in the disability of your child. That is only one aspect of your life. Although we spend a lot of time attending to them, that is not just a part of us. We are not just the parent of a child with disability. We are much more. We are artists, we are dancers, we are musicians, we are cooks, we are travelers. And we should be able to enjoy all these aspects along with the disability of our child. We cannot allow our identity to get blurred under the cloak of our child's disability. So take time to be what you are. Ask for help and build a support system. You know your child the best, but that doesn't mean that you're the only person who can help your child. So talk to your spouse, talk to your siblings, talk to your children, and find out help if possible. And also build a support system for yourself so that when you're not there, your child will not be totally unattended. And you can go and do your chores without feeling guilty. This support system will help you to focus on your work and not to worry about your kids, thinking what will happen to them when you fall sick or you have to travel for some work or attend a wedding in the family. So build a support system around it because you are going to need it for a long term. The next is pay attention to your relationship. Your spouse also has a child with disability, and if you feel that it is different for them, that is your notion. So take time to spend time with your spouse. Try to communicate with them and don't expect that they should know without your telling. Take some time off so that you can talk on things other than all these difficulties. It really helps a lot. The next is make your child independent. This is the most important aspect of it. Don't be overindulgent with your child. Teach them as many skills as possible so that they can be independent and they can perform a lot of their work on their own. That will put you in ease in many ways. Besides, that is precisely what we have to do. We have to train our children all those skills which is necessary for them to lead a life of independence and live in dignity. If you train them properly with all the skills, then they will not depend on you or anybody else. The next is do not overindulge with your child and introduce some discipline in their life. Parents often feel guilty about the disability and they want to make it up with being overindulgent with their children, doing things for them when it is not necessary, or yielding to their tantrum when it is totally unnecessary. So don't do that. You are putting so much pressure on yourself by doing so. You need not be guilty about the diagnosis and need not compensate about it. Rather than that, if you can teach discipline, it will help them a lot. Don't tolerate unnecessary kicking, throwing, biting. All these things are avoidable. Don't overlook the capabilities of a child and concentrate only on their disabilities. Teach them how to manage their emotions and behaviors. Kicking, biting, pushing, beating, all these behaviors not at all acceptable. So don't take it on yourself and don't let them do it on others. That is detrimental to their own self. So teach them all the skills and maintain a discipline which you would expect your other neurotypical kids to follow. Finally, lead a very healthy life. By healthy life, what I mean is look at the family as a whole. Look at the holistic picture of your family where you have to look in for good health, peace of mind, and emotional well being of each and every member of the family. The list goes on, and it often gets revised from time to time. And it is not that you parents don't know all this, but you don't prioritize it to bring it into action. It's very important for us to inculcate all these steps so that we will have an healthy approach towards the challenging task of bringing up our children. And that is all I have for you, these 15 fabulous tips. And if you liked it, go and give me a thumbs up and also share your comments in the comment box. If you want more help in training your child across the 5 domains of development, you know what to do. You have to go and just click the link given in the description box so that you can join my webinar where I will tell you all about Care Life Skill Blueprint. That brings us to the end of today's Tuesday Talks, and I will see you this Friday with another episode of Friday Facts. Till then, goodbye and take good care of yourselves.